When I was a young man, I got a chance to go to the Wahpeton Indian School in Wahpeton and take on, the people that stayed there in the dorms. They had a basketball team. And, a big day for us would be if we came within 30. I mean, we just got our butts whooped every time we played. And then when they'd come out to Manor, of course, we had the home field advantage. And so if we could keep it to under 25, it was a good day. But I remember the Indian School really well. And one of the individuals that was always there and in his wheelchair was a man named Woody Keeble. And, Woody he was this tremendous hero when it comes to our military. And we're going to get a chance to visit with Russell Hawkins later on. That's Woody Keeble's stepson. And, Russell's going to be the one speaking at the North Dakota Cemetery down south of Mandan this week. So on Memorial Day, I should say. So we're going to get a chance to visit with him. But first, there's a lot of things happening in D.C. A lot of things happening in D.C. And so one of the people that I know what's going on in D.C. is my sister. And that's Mary Catherine / Heidi Heitkamp. Heidi, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thanks for having me, Joel.
I was teasing her before the show came on that the beautiful artwork that she has behind her would almost get her a 5 or a 6 in Room Rater. Do you think that's fair?
I think it's at least a 7.
Look at what I got. Look at what I put together. I mean, look.
Oh, you put together.
Yeah.
You.
It was here when I got here, so it's part of my...
All I can say, Joel, is it's a good thing your wife has great taste, because if it were up to you, it would be wall-to-wall bar signs.
Well, in fairness, my wife had nothing to do with it. So there, the great folks at Beck TV did. So, all right, Heidi, there was a vote, and the vote today was 4 votes shy of having a commission to look into the insurrection that happened on January 6th. Obviously, the Democrats are mad. The Republicans are happy. A lot of Democrats are mad because of the fact that they didn't break the filibuster and do what Mitch McConnell had done a number of times during his time as majority leader. What's your take on that, the fact that they came up 4 votes shy?
I mean, number one, my first reaction is it's pathetic that it wasn't 100 votes to study what happened. Basically, a mob stormed the Capitol. The last time that happened was the War of 1812, and it was done by the British, and we were at war. And this idea that these were simply tourists, none of us who were watching live that day should ever pretend that we didn't see what we saw. We saw an armed insurrection marching through the Capitol, looking for the vice president with a lynching pole in the front of the Capitol, and looking for the Speaker of the House. And so if that doesn't warrant a bipartisan reaction of what the heck was that all about, and where did these folks come from, and what do we need to do to make sure this never happens again, I don't know what does. And so this is all about move on, nothing to see here. And the worst thing that you can do, you take a look at 9/11, Joel, even $9 million spent on a Benghazi hearing and 800 pages, and we have an armed insurrection against the Capitol and against our government and against a fair election, and somehow that doesn't warrant even a nod. What's going to happen now, and I think it's unfortunate, is that this is going to turn into hearings in the House. It's going to turn into hearings in the Senate, when they should be doing the business of the people and leave it up to a bipartisan, in fact, nonpartisan group to take a look at this, which is what I think that bill did. So it's really unfortunate. This thing isn't over. There is going to be an analysis and a study. It's just going to be done in a highly partisan way as opposed to a bipartisan way through an independent commission.
Well, I look at it, and they still did get 6 votes. The Democrats did, 6 people to cross over and vote with them for this commission. There's a lot of people who say with 56 votes, what more do you need? That the filibuster should not be in place, and that filibuster is stopping this country from moving forward in important actions like this commission. What's your take on that?
Well, I think that this is something, Joel, that should have always been bipartisan. And I think to break the filibuster to do this would even make it more partisan, this independent commission. And so it would fly in the face of what you're trying to accomplish, which is let's come together, let's analyze what's happened, let's put politics aside, put party aside, and do the right thing. And so I would not, if I had been there, I would have certainly voted for the commission, but I would not have voted to break the filibuster.
There's two individuals on the Supreme Court, and they're on the Supreme Court because the filibuster was broken, and it was broken by Mitch McConnell. Are Democrats just too soft to do the work? And by that, I mean this. You say it's just going to be done in a partisan way. I would say that if they got the votes, the majority, in this case 56 votes, to put the commission together, that's going to be the old news. There's not a lot of people talking about the filibuster being broken on those Supreme Court nominees. You and I talk about it because we know about it. But the average Joe out there doesn't know that. And so, you fast forward, and as Democrats, you say, no, this is important enough. We're going to do this. And we've got even 6 Republicans that go with us. I mean, what's happened to our democracy where 56 isn't enough?
Well, one thing that I'm sure a lot of your listeners who are familiar with breaking of the filibuster will remember that this started when the Democrats basically said we aren't going to require a 60-vote threshold for district court appointments. We'll only keep it for circuit court appointments and Supreme Court appointments. And it was Mitch McConnell who took it one step further and said, nope, we're going to include Supreme Court appointments. And so, this back and forth, I think the bigger story today is not the filibuster, Joel. It's why would Senator Hoeven, why would Senator Kramer not vote for a commission? I mean, why? I mean, in what world would this not warrant a 9/11 type commission? And when you have everybody and former Trump appointees saying the single greatest threat to our democracy is insurrection groups that are domestic terrorism groups, don't you think we ought to study that in a bipartisan way? And so the filibuster is a sideshow. I think the greater question is, what is everybody afraid of if you open this up and actually take a look at it?
Well, I want to push back on that a little bit in this way. I think if you're asking me why Hoeven and Kramer didn't vote in favor of the commission, the answer is really easy. They don't want that study going on. They don't want what may come out of that study. They don't like the results of it. In fact, I will take this to a place, Heidi, that puts me in a little bit of danger, but I don't care. You've got one of those senators empowering members of North Dakota media to be in that Capitol and to be out there live on media saying, look, as far as they know, this is Antifa that's doing this. And so when you've empowered people to do that, encourage them to come to D.C. and then encourage them to misinform people, you've got an issue. And so you're not going to like the results of what that commission finds. The other thing you're not going to like is the fact that commission goes on during an election cycle. They're not going to want to have that conversation when at the time they're trying to get back the majority. So I think the filibuster does matter. I think it's a sign that the Democrats are too weak to do what they need to do when they really need to do it.
Let's just back up and say, look, a commission, a bipartisan, independent commission that would have taken the Congress out of the analysis, they wait for the report, was absolutely the way to go. So now the alternative is going to be a Democratic Senate committee hearing and long investigations in committees, which tend to be very hyper-partisan these days. It's going to be House committee investigations. This isn't going to go away, Joel. And in the midst of all of this, we're going to start hearing reports coming out of the cases, all of the litigation that's going to be forthcoming of people like the shaman, the QAnon shaman, who now says, oh, don't blame me. I'm going to claim that I'm mentally impaired. And so the truth will come out. The question is, can we accept the truth when it's not done in a context that is bipartisan? And this idea of that nothing to see here, just move on. I mean, I would challenge everybody to go back and take a look and I'm sure there'll be documentaries. Take a look at what happened that day. I remember I was doing national network news on the vote count, and I just I just sat in horror of what I was seeing. And almost every American did. And now, because it's turned into a partisan thing, it's like nothing to see here. That's not the right reaction to what happened. And if people feel so aggrieved that they are marching on the Capitol, then let's find out why, and let's find out who they were.
You know, there's a lot of talk about lobbying and the power of those that lobby. You know, I want to go back to the Capitol Police because we are brother and sister, and I was at that Capitol many times with you. And one of the things that I am the most proud of as your much, much younger brother, one of the things that I am the most proud of is when you would walk into that Capitol and the reaction you got from people that had become your friends. And that was the Capitol Police, the first name basis, the knowledge of each other's family basis. I mean, these people became part of your life. I think that some of the senators, many of the senators can't say that. I mean, how do you look at the Capitol Police in the eye and say you didn't matter because we're not going to take a look at this? Now, before we go to a break, I want to play this because I mentioned lobbying. Well, here is grassroots lobbying. Gladys Sicknick, Brian Sicknick's mother, went to the Hart Building, and she went door to door to the Republicans to find a way to get them to vote the way they didn't today. And I want you to take a look at this.
Do you think you can change minds today?
I hope so. I hope so. And Brian had a work ethic like second to none, and he was just there for our country and for these guys, and he just was doing his job, and he got caught up in it, and it's very sad.
Last question. Does it anger you, Mrs. Sicknick, to hear senators who do not support this commission, and what emotions do you feel when you're confronted with that?
This is why I'm here today. Usually I'm staying in the background, and I couldn't stay quiet anymore.
Now, I know you were a United States Senator, but I also know your mom. I mean, for her to go through that pain all over again to make the case that you just made of how in the world can't you take a look at this, I just don't know how you look at her in the eye, Heidi. I just don't.
Well, I mean, I don't know who could. You know, I told you, Joel, Officer Goodman, who has since been awarded the Congressional Medal, he's a great friend of mine. I mean, he was like one of my favorite people in the whole wide world when I lived in Washington. And I look at him and I look at what he did for the people who sit in that chamber, risking it all, and then marching them up to other officers who were risking it all. And they aren't even willing to risk a political vote. Think about that. Think about what was risked by not just those who perished that day and who were severely injured, but those people who held the line, the DC police. How do you look at them and say, "Oh, nothing to see here"? They're living with the post-traumatic stress of that day. I mean, this wasn't just a 10-minute kind of firefight. This was a 5-hour siege. And people were holding the door. Go back and listen and watch. There is shame for every person who voted no. Shame on them. Well, and shame on our congressional delegation. And I don't speak very often, as you know, Joel, publicly about my disappointment. I am incredibly disappointed that North Dakota's delegation did not have the courage to do the right thing as it related to this commission.
Well, John Hoeven and Kevin Kramer better never look me in the eye, whether it be on the radio show or whether it be here on TV, and cite again Blue Lives Matter. We'll be back with more Heidi Heitkamp right after this.
Howdy, folks. It's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay-busting breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark. Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close. Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Attention, have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Welcome back to Down the Road. We're discussing the vote that was held today where the Democrats didn't win. They only got 56 votes of the 60 because of the filibuster needed to have a bipartisan commission to study what happened in the insurrection on January 6th. Now, Heidi Heitkamp is our guest. Heidi, I want to share with you the names of individuals that didn't even vote, okay? Senator Marsha Blackburn, Roy Blunt, Mike Braun, Richard Burr, Jim Inhofe, Mike Rounds, James Rich, Richard Shelby, and Pat Toomey. None of these 9 voted. How do you not vote on something like this?
Well, first off, it just shows how pathetic the Senate is. All of those people took a look at their calendar and said, I don't work in Washington on Fridays, and so I'm going home. And a bunch of them are retiring, and some of them just got reelected, like Mike Rounds. And so, it's like, people will forget. You know what? The officers, the Capitol Police officers, and history will remember all of these votes, including those people who were not even present. And so, this is a historical vote. This is one that people will remember and look back on, because the story of what happened on January 6th will be told. That we will get it in depositions, we will get it in criminal proceedings, we will learn what actually happened. It won't be done orderly in a commission, but it will come out. And when it comes out, none of the people who voted no are going to look very good.
I have to ask you, though, would any of those people gone home if there wasn't a filibuster? I mean, if the filibuster was gone, Heidi, and these people were now, hold on, let me make my point. If the filibuster was gone, and you had a Friday, any Friday, where you're going to bring an issue up, and you're going to have a debate on an issue, these guys wouldn't be running home saying, "I get a long weekend."
Well, they definitely would have probably stayed there. But again, Joel, this isn't about the filibuster. I mean, that's a sideshow. The filibuster is a sideshow.
But Heidi, the filibuster is a means to win when you have the majority. What good is the majority if you don't use it on important issues like this? And that's the point I'm trying to make. That the Republicans used it in their own benefit, and they used it to win. And I have no doubt that Mitch McConnell would have used it here.
I honestly don't know that that's true. Mitch McConnell had the opportunity to actually invoke the filibuster on substantive pieces of legislation like this, and he didn't. He only did it on nominations. And so be careful. You know, what I always say, I remember what Ted Cruz said to me when the Democrats pursued, when Reid pursued lifting the filibuster. He said, that's fine, because when we have the majority, there's going to be national tort reform, there's going to be right to work laws, national right to work laws. There's going to be all these things that you guys have stopped without the filibuster. And so, you know, politics ebbs and flows. And so, you know, you got to be prepared to take the negative consequences of what happens. And I will tell you, anyone, and I would recommend it to you, Carl Levin, who was a legislator's legislator, former senator from Michigan, dearly loved, very much loved by the military, wrote an op-ed saying, please don't get rid of the filibuster. Barbara Boxer, the most liberal person in the Senate when I was there, begged Harry Reid not to eliminate the filibuster. So just remember, if you want to say the filibuster benefits the extremes in both parties, that's absolutely true.
Well, now, this isn't an extreme. This is something, as you pointed out in the last segment, that is so common sense and is so needed in a bipartisan fashion that the American public wouldn't remember. If they knew that 56 people said, let's do this, that to them would be a win. So we're just going to disagree on that. And when you say that Ted Cruz was worried about tort reform and Ted Cruz was worried about right to work, every one of those states that you say those senators are from that would support right to work, their states have right to work. They do. Texas has right to work. North Dakota has right to work. We fought that every time in the North Dakota legislature, and we didn't win because the conservatives used the state legislature to get what they wanted, Heidi.
Right, but Michigan doesn't. And a national piece of, or national concealed carry reciprocity. I mean, I could go through tons of things that many people, especially progressives, would not agree with. Now, I mean, so if you're playing the long game and you're a conservative, what you should say is, hope they do lift it. Because when we have control, we're going to jam through all of this stuff as well. Well, and so, I mean, I don't want to get in a debate about the filibuster because this commission's too important. What happened on January 6th is too devastating to our democracy not to be studied and not to be analyzed in a bipartisan, you know, kind of methodical way. And that's not what's going to happen. But understand this, and I've always believed this, Joel. I think Liz Cheney knows more than she's telling anyone. And I say that because of who her father is and who her father knows. I think there is so much out there that is going to be revealed and come out as a result of time and a result of these processes, be it criminal litigation or civil litigation. You saw the Capitol Police have since filed litigation against actually, I think it's DC police officers against Donald Trump. This stuff's going to come out. Why not get it out in a way that we can properly respond to it instead of putting it in a political context?
Well, it is a political context now, and there is no commission now. And I think we got to put that in the light of day, too. If you think it was never interesting at our kitchen table, I think we just proved it was. And so that's the way it's always been.
And can I say, I think just prove that I'm a better arguer than Joel.
Oh, I think you are so wrong about that. You're a former Attorney General and a former United States Senator. And one other day, I want to talk to you about all these mass shootings, Heidi, and what you think that we can do to get our arms around some of this. Okay, we'll do that another day.
Okay.
Thank you, Heidi. When we come back.
Can I, Joel, just say thank you to all the veterans out there and all the family members, especially those full star mothers that I've got to know. This is your weekend. May God bless you and thank you for your service.
You bet. That we will not debate. When we come back, Russell Hawkins joins us. Russell is the stepson of one Woody Keeble. We got to tell his story when we come back down the road.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed, soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not one, not two, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
Thank you for your patience and understanding.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the most condescending, rude email you've ever received?
Well, welcome to
National
the
news.
third term of a certain president. I really believe that.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks.
You know, I mentioned earlier in the show one Woody Keeble. Master Sergeant Woody Keeble was someone that my first memory of was from my father. And Woody Keeble spent a lot of time at the Wahpeton Indian School when I was young. And my father would always point to him and say, that is a national hero. And this was the same man, my father, that I looked upon as a hero because he had served in World War II. And he would just look at Woody Keeble and he said, there's no one around here that did what Master Sergeant Keeble did on behalf of this country, the price that he paid. And so just getting to see him and know that he was around meant a lot to me. And then there became a point in my life where I started raising the question, and I pounded and pounded and pounded, and I helped out any way I could with individuals to get Woody Keeble in the Rough Rider Hall of Fame. And I'm proud of the work that we all did on that, because Woody Keeble belongs in the North Dakota Rough Rider Hall of Fame. He's that type of hero. He's no longer with us, but his stepson is. Russell Hawkins will be the one that speaks at North Dakota's cemetery. It's Veterans Cemetery this weekend on Memorial Day, and Russell is good enough to share some time with us today. Russell, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thank you. I'm here.
You bet. I've got you, Russell. I got to ask this, what do you think of? I just mentioned what I think of whenever Woody Keeble's mentioned. What do you think of when you think of your father?
I think he was a great man. And I'm finding out so much more about him after he's passed on. And I sit and I realized how all this time I was sitting in the same room with such greatness, and I didn't even know it.
I want to make sure we give some of the facts to people about Woody Keeble. Now, he was recognized as a man with quiet courage and large presence. Woody was not a small man. In World War II, he proved his heroism as he fought through the South Pacific Island campaigns, which earned him his first Bronze Star, 2 Purple Hearts, and the Combat Infantry Badge. And then, you know what? Many would have said, I'm done with my service to this country. I served. But when the Korean War began, he reenlisted. He did. And he was assigned Company G 19th Infantry Regiment, 24th Division, where he earned another Purple Heart, a Bronze Star Medal with V, Valor device, also Silver Star, and a Distinguished Service Cross, but not the Medal of Honor. And that's when a lot of people kicked in. That's when they did. And Russell Hawkins was one of those individuals that said, this man, my father, deserves the Medal of Honor. And along with Mary Helm, who I had the privilege of working with on the Rough Rider Award, they got it done. They got Woody Keeble that Medal of Honor. And Russell, with all the work you put into that, what did that feel like to finally accomplish it?
Well, when it finally happened, I thought I can die a happy man, that my life had a purpose, and Woody would get the honor that he deserved.
I want to get an insight into this man that you have. It's one thing to read things like this off and to show how heroic he was and the price that he spent on behalf of our country. But the man behind all of that you knew, what was he like?
He was very kind-hearted. He was a very gentle-spirited person. He was very humble. And if you did not know his war record, you would think he was just maybe a very humble, introverted person. He would always sit in the back of the room, in the corner. He would never try to sit to the front. He never brought a presence to himself. Always a quiet observer, always very thoughtful. Many times when we were in Wapton, North Dakota with the heavy winters and snow, there would be people stuck in a snowbank. And Woody, without saying a word, he'd check the traffic, he'd pull over, he'd get out of his car, and he'd just walk up to that car, grab it by the back bumper, and just push it out of the snow. And people would thank him and want to do something. He'd just smile and wave. And when I met him, he had already suffered his 7th stroke, so he was unable to speak. He could write notes, and then we could read about the brave deeds that he did. And as a young boy, I read about him. But outside of his war record, he was very thoughtful. He was actually a great cook. He would really cook me up some big hamburgers when I would come home for lunch in 5th grade and 6th grade. He was very thoughtful and very kind. I would forget to leave my shoes outside in the rain. I'd remember them, and they were all full of mud. The next morning, they were all dried and polished. He would get up in the night. He would see that I left my shoes out. He'd clean off the mud, dry them off, and polish them. Very kind, very thoughtful.
He was known that way in Wapton, too. I know that you know that. In the Wapton community, one of the places that we always met to go referee football was the Wapton American Legion. And they had a wall dedicated to Woody Keeble there. They had a wall that those veterans who themselves had served in the military, they had a wall that honored this great man. And when you would say something, going there to meet to go referee a football game, when you would ask one of those veterans that was there, you know, whether it be having a drink or just visiting or playing a game of cards, and you'd get them to talk about Woody Keeble, quite frankly, Russell, they'd say exactly what you just said, that he was quiet, that this great big man had a great big heart. And they said, you know what, you were never really going to get to know him the way you should have got to know him with everything he had done. So I'll back you up on that. Let me ask you this, Russell. How beat up was he? I mean, when you're winning Purple Hearts and Medals of Valor and, you know, for example, how many times was Woody shot?
He was shot 6 different times with the rifle. He was shot alongside the head when he took out the 3 pillboxes on Hill 765 when he ultimately received the Congressional Medal of Honor. On his solo attack, the 4th attack, his helmet was shot right off. The bullet hole entered his helmet above his left ear and exited in the back towards his neck, left a deep scar alongside his head. He was shot there. Then on his 3rd attempt, I'm kind of going backwards, his 3rd attempt up the hill with 3rd Platoon, he took a bullet right through the chest on the right side. And so just on Hill 765, he took a bullet through the chest, and then he took a bullet alongside the head. And then in Korea, he was in the Pacific, Guadalcanal, he was shot in the right shoulder, his first engagement with the Japanese. Everyone took cover. They walked into a Japanese ambush. Everyone took cover, everyone except Master Sergeant Keeble. He walked out into the open with his BAR, and he fired 3 magazines of 20 round per magazine. He was on his 4th magazine when a rifleman shot him through the right shoulder, knocked him down. He went down hard, but he got back up with the BAR, finished the engagement. And that was kind of a trademark of his. He would never take cover. He would stand out into the open and let the enemy shoot at him. And he was shot then through the right shoulder. He was shot twice in the left arm. He was shot twice up at Hill 765. And then he was saving a wounded soldier in the Pacific at Guadalcanal, and he took a bullet through the back. And that particular story, one man went out and was wounded, and he was still alive. A GI went out to save him, and he was wounded and went down. And then Woody went out and brought them both back. And when he got bringing them both back, he took a bullet through the back. So he was shot 6 times with a rifle, and then he was hit 7 different times with shrapnel grenades. So he was hit 13 times in all. He did receive 3 Purple Hearts, but in a perfect world, he should have got 13 Purple Hearts.
That's amazing. When you were doing research on this, did you know that? Did you know that he had been shot that many times? Did you know?
No, I didn't. A lot of this was eyewitnesses. No, as a young boy, I know he was shot twice in the left arm because I could see the scars in his left arm. And I remember I was just learning how to shoot a gun myself. And I would pull the trigger to the right and instead of squeezing it. And I'd always hit to the right of my target. And I remember at the breakfast table one time, Woody's sitting there with the short sleeves on, and I had practice, and I saw the 2 bullet holes through his left arm. And I said, Woody, I think the guy shooting, now remember, I'm a little guy now. I'm not like an adult. And I said, Woody, I think the guy shooting you was right-handed. I think he was aiming at your heart. And I think he pulled the trigger instead of squeezed the trigger, because both these bullet holes are very close to each other, but they were 2 separate battles. And I think they were both right-handed shooters that were shooting at you. And they were aiming at your heart, but instead they got you on the left arm because they were right-handed and they pulled the trigger. And anyway, that was just my observation. And then the scar alongside his head just looked like a piece of fishing string pushed against his scalp real hard, like an invisible fishing string. It was just a deep crease. And that was a rifleman who got him there.
Absolutely.
But a lot of this we found out by eyewitnesses.
You know, and when we come back, I want to hear what that was like to hear from eyewitnesses, to speak to the men who served with him. So please stick around. Russell Hawkins, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have more conversation about Woody Keeble when we come back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money. So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing, because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Your Bismarck Bucks are hitting the road this week, Saturday, May 29th, for a 7:05 p.m. kickoff in Des Moines, Iowa, as we take on the Iowa Barnstormers for the IFL Game of the Week. Catch the game locally on Beck Sports and on our national television partner, Stadium, as the Bismarck Bucks look to improve to 4-1 on the season. Hey, go Bucks!
If you were with us in the last segment, I'll absolutely guarantee you didn't leave us. You're hanging in there, because this conversation that Russell Hawkins is bringing is absolutely fascinating. Russell is the guest speaker at the North Dakota Veterans Cemetery. He's the stepson of one Woody Keeble, military hero and someone who nationwide is a poster child for what you can do if you have the determination and the grit to do as a soldier. And Russell is his stepson. So, Russell, I need to know from you what his fellow troops thought of him. What stories they had.
Okay, I'll be happy to share that with you. I can tell you that I'll start with Frank Plata, who was with 3rd Platoon. He was one of the individuals pinned down by the triangular crossfire by the 3 pillboxes. He saw Woody in action. He fought with him not only on this engagement, but in other engagements. Frank Plata was a lifer. He fought in World War II. He fought in Korea. He was a Silver Star recipient, Purple Heart recipient. He said Master Sergeant Keeble was the bravest man he ever saw. And there was no man he respected more than Master Sergeant Woody Keeble. And after he'd been in numerous engagements with him, and he was not part of the tribe, he was not part of the Midwest, he was, I think, from the East Coast, he said there's only 2 people he puts in front of Master Sergeant Woody Keeble. And he said one was George Washington, and the other was Abe Lincoln, and then it was Woody Keeble. He said there was no greater soldier that he'd ever met, no one who commanded more respect. And he was with Woody on Hill 765. He was an eyewitness to what he did. That's what Frank Plata said. One interesting person, one new development that we had was from Joe O'Connell. Joe O'Connell was not with George Company. He was not 1st, 2nd, or 3rd Platoon George Company. They were the ones engaged on Hill 765. Joe O'Connell was with Howe Company. He was on the next boundary hill, but he had a bird's eye view of everything. And he was manning his M1917 Browning machine gun, a water-cooled machine gun. And when he saw the three attempts to take out the pillboxes all fail. He saw 3 platoons go up, and then he saw all 3 retreated back. And then he couldn't believe his eyes. He said one big GI was going to go up against the whole mountain by himself. And when that became apparent that he was going to attack the trenches, and now Joe said these trenches were trenches that went completely around the mountain. There were transportation trenches filled with enemy soldiers completely around the mountain, one at the base, one at the middle, and then the 3 pillboxes on top. And he saw one man going to attack all of them by himself. He just turned his water-cooled machine gun towards the enemy positions, and he burned up 3 belts. And I said, Joe, how many rounds to a belt? And he said, 250. I said, so you burned up 750 rounds? And he said, yes. He said, Master Sergeant Keeble approached that first trench. He opened up with his BAR, which was the same caliber as Joe's water-cooled machine gun, killed a number of troops, and then rushed forward and jumped into the trench with the rest of the enemy soldiers. And then all Joe could hear was the BAR, which was the same caliber of his Browning 1917, and then he'd hear the enemy guns, then he'd hear the BAR, then he'd hear the enemy guns, then he'd hear the BAR, then the enemy guns, and then just the BAR. And then he said he didn't know Woody Keeble, but he said then this big GI got out of that first trench at the base of the mountain, which went completely around the mountain, having killed all the soldiers in that first trench. Now he moved towards the second trench. But now the entire enemy soldiers directed their firepower upon him with grenades, machine gun fire, rifle fire. He said the grenades coming down off the mountain looked like flocks of blackbirds. And they hit right in front of Woody, knocked him down. He thought they got him. He thought, oh, they got him with the grenade. And then Woody got back up again. Another grenade would hit him beside him, knock him down. And he'd think, oh, they got him for sure. And he'd get up again. Later, they would take 83 pieces of shrapnel out of Woody. When Woody got to the second trench, again with his BAR, he cleared an area of enemy soldiers, jumped up, ran towards that trench, and jumped into the trench with the rest of the remaining enemy soldiers. And this is Joe O'Connell's account as an eyewitness. And then he said he couldn't see anyone. He'd just hear the BAR, then he'd hear the enemy guns, the BAR, then the enemy guns, then just the BAR. And Woody had killed everybody in that first trench and the second trench. And these were transportation trenches that went completely around the mountain filled with enemy soldiers. Then he got to the pillboxes. He used the trench as a defensive position and took the first pillbox out from the front with a grenade. And then he got back down on the trench low and he went to the left and took out the second pillbox with the grenade from the front, and that left the remaining pillbox on top. He used the trench and went around the back of the mountain, came up in the back of the pillbox and destroyed that with a grenade going through the back door. Then we didn't know this either, but the eyewitnesses said there were some said 6, some said 7. I used the number 7. 7 remaining enemy soldiers, all in hidden positions. They grabbed their weapons and they just all rushed Master Sergeant Keeble after he'd taken out the 2 trenches and the 3 pillboxes. And one BAR man, he was at the base of the mountain, and he told me at the Medal of Honor ceremony before, and he said, all this time, Master Sergeant Keeble had his BAR on a 600 round rate of fire. And he said when the last 7 men attacked him, he switched it to a 300 round rate of fire. Now, I'm telling you that because that's what an eyewitness told me. He thought it was important enough to tell me, so I'm telling you. Woody switched his BAR to the slower rate of fire, 300 rounds, and then he killed the last remaining attacking 7 soldiers. And so the first guy up the mountain was Mario Izzoni. And Mario said what was so eerie, he said, is everybody was dead. Everybody in that first trench, all the enemy soldiers, dead. Everyone in the second trench, all dead. Everyone in the pillboxes, dead. The last remaining soldiers, dead. He said, usually there's wounded. Usually there's somebody moaning and calling out, trying to surrender. But he said, everybody was dead. He said it was really eerie. And Master Sergeant Keeble was sitting on a huge rock, leaning against his BAR. And Mario ran up to him and said, are you okay? Are you okay? And Woody didn't answer, but Mario unzipped his jacket, and he just saw him covered with blood. The bullet hole through his chest. Later, 83 pieces of shrapnel taken out of him, bleeding from the head where the bullet grazed his, opened up his scalp above his ear. And Mario said, I just stayed with him. I would not leave him. He said, I stayed with him, and I counted every piece of shrapnel they took out. They took out 83 of them.
Yeah. Russell, I have to ask you this in the minute I have left here. What does he mean to the tribe, to the Sisseton-Wahpeton tribe?
He not only means something to the tribe, but all the Sioux Nation. He epitomizes the cultural values of the Dakota Lakota people, that they are bravery, courageous, humble, and generous. Those were qualities that were esteemed by the Dakota Lakota culture, and Woody epitomized those. He was generous, he was modest, and he was brave.
There's a reason that Russell Hawkins is sitting here right now visiting with us with a master's degree in public administration from the University of South Dakota. And something tells me, Russell, Woody would be awful proud of that. Thank you, sir. And thank you for speaking at the North Dakota Veterans Ceremony or Cemetery ahead of time. And thank you for sharing time with us here on Beck News.
Thank you for remembering Master Sergeant Woody Keeble.
You bet. When we come back, some closing comments going into Memorial Day. Wow.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree Dental Card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree Dental Card, you save $525. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree Dental Card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Spas, etc. Yeah.
You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you could pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Maiden Bismarck.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
We're not going to be on Memorial Day. There'll be no down the road episode. At least one where I'm sitting right here talking to you on Memorial Day, and that's probably right. I need to be at a ceremony just like I hope you're at a ceremony. Now, not everyone can be Woody Keeble. I mean, not everyone can be a Woody Keeble. But there's someone in your life that served this country in uniform. Someone that when you think of what this country does and what it stands for and who fights for it and who defends it, when you think of all that, you think of them. I don't know who it is. I know you know who it is. So Memorial Day means a lot to them. A lot. I have a sister, Julie, that I love dearly, that leading up to Memorial Day, she will go out to as many graves as she can of family members and place flowers. That's what she does. That's what she does, and that's something that we all take for granted and appreciate from her. My biggest memory of Memorial Day was my father. He was the first ever commander of the Manor VFW. He was the one that organized Post 9317 and said, we need to have that here in Manador. Now remember, this is post-World War II, and then, as was just pointed out, you had the Korean War. And so there were a lot of men in small towns like that had served this country in uniform. And they had something in common. They did. They had more than just their service in the military. They had everything that goes along with it. The memories, the bonding, everything that goes along with that, they had the ability to share with each other in that VFW hall where I grew up. Again, there's a place like that where you're at. And I think Monday is the perfect time to recognize that and take part in it. Happy Memorial Day, everyone. Good riding with you.